Fun Money Game. Part 3, The Final Gambit. Jack Reynolds stared out the window of his corner office, the sprawling city skyline reflecting in the glass. Talon Industries was now his, but with ownership came new pressures, ones that weighed heavily on his mind. The 6-month deadline to turn the company around was rapidly approaching, and while progress had been made, it wasn't enough. The pressure was mounting, and his competitors were circling like vultures. Daniel Crowe hadn't disappeared after his loss at the shareholder meeting. Instead, he had become a shadowy figure in the background, waiting for Jack to falter. Crowe's reputation for ruthless vengeance was well known, and Jack knew he was biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. The transformation of Talon Industries was proving to be more challenging than Jack had anticipated. The company's aging infrastructure, outdated management practices, and dwindling market share were formidable obstacles. Jack needed to think outside the box if he was going to pull off this turnaround. He needed a final gambit that would secure Talon's future and cement his victory in the fun money game. One evening, as Jack was poring over the company's financials, an idea struck him. Talon's manufacturing plants, though old, were built on prime real estate. The locations were perfectly situated for a new wave of eco-friendly, sustainable urban development projects that were gaining traction in major cities. Jack realized that the value of Talon's land holdings could be leveraged in a way that no one had considered before. He spent the next week putting together a bold new plan. Instead of continuing to fight an uphill battle to revive the company's traditional manufacturing business, Jack proposed transforming Talon Industries into a leader in sustainable urban development. The plan was to sell off the old manufacturing assets and use the proceeds to finance the development of green spaces, energy-efficient buildings, and innovative public infrastructure. It was a radical shift, but one that Jack believed would not only save the company, but also set it on a path to future growth and relevance. Jack knew the plan was risky. The idea of abandoning the company's core business was sure to face resistance from the board, the shareholders, and especially from Crowe, who would see it as a sign of desperation. But Jack also knew that without a bold move, Talon would be doomed to a slow death. At the next board meeting, Jack presented his vision. He spoke passionately about the need for change, about how Talon could lead the way in a new era of sustainable development. He showed projections of the potential profits, the social impact, and the long-term benefits of the transformation. The room was silent as he laid out his plan. The faces of the board members a mix of skepticism and intrigue. The turning point came when Jack secured the backing of a major international investment firm that specialized in green technology. Their endorsement of his plan, along with a significant investment pledge, swayed the board. The plan was approved, but not without conditions. Jack would have just 3 months to show significant progress. If he failed, Crowe had arranged for a vote of no confidence, which would strip Jack of his leadership and possibly cost him everything. The next 3 months were a whirlwind of activity. Jack worked tirelessly, securing permits, negotiating with city officials, and overseeing the beginning of the redevelopment projects. The first phase involved transforming one of Talon's oldest factories into a state-of-the-art green office complex. The media buzz around the project was enormous, with headlines touting Talon's dramatic reinvention. Investors began to take notice, and Talon's stock started to climb. But Crowe wasn't done. In the final weeks of the deadline, he launched a last-ditch effort to sabotage Jack's plan. Using his connections, he orchestrated a series of delays and regulatory hurdles that threatened to derail the project. Jack found himself racing against time, battling both external forces and the growing doubts of his own team. With just days left, Jack pulled an all-nighter, working with his legal and PR teams to counter Crowe's attacks. In a dramatic press conference, Jack exposed Crowe's underhanded tactics and doubled down on his commitment to the redevelopment. The move rallied public support, and the final approvals came through just in time. On the day of the deadline, the board met to review the progress. The once decrepit factory was now a gleaming symbol of Talon's rebirth, and the first tenants were already moving in. The board voted unanimously to continue with Jack's plan, and Crowe's motion was defeated. As Jack left the boardroom, the weight of the last few months began to lift. He had won. Talon Industries was saved, and he had proven himself in the fun money game. But more than that, he had learned that in the world of finance, victory wasn't just about making money, it was about vision, resilience, and the courage to take risks. The game was over, but Jack knew that in the ever-changing world of finance, new challenges would always be on the horizon. And when they came, he would be ready. The end.